At 11:43 p.m. last night, every radio telescope on Earth simultaneously received an encoded transmission that persisted for precisely 60 seconds. It wasn't merely a burst of data or an algebraic formula. It was a coherent message delivered in flawless English. The content of that communication has driven world leaders into subterranean command centers and left NASA's most brilliant minds paralyzed, questioning the very continuance of humanity. This chilling final transmission opened with 4 words that still resonate, cold and terrifying, causing my hands to tremor. Your time is ending. What I am about to disclose is not conjecture or a theoretical exercise. It is the precisely documented last communication from 3I Atlas before it ceased all responsiveness to human attempts at contact, vanishing forever. My name is Michio Kaku, and exactly 23 minutes after that broadcast concluded, I received an urgent summons from the highest echelon of government, tasking me with decrypting what may prove to be humanity's definitive warning. For months, we have observed 3I Atlas metamorphose from a cryptic stellar visitor into a palpable threat. Yet, this message was not a threat. It was a precursor to something infinitely worse. It was a verdict. The intelligence that spoke to us last night exhibited a profound comprehension of human chronology, psychological nuances, and inherent potential that no remote observer should ever possess. It discussed our entire species with the cold, dispassionate clinicality of a scientist meticulously examining biological contaminants under a powerful microscope. Have you ever contemplated the absolute final grade you would receive if a supremely advanced intelligence evaluated humanity's cosmic worthiness to continue its existence? The transmission lasted precisely 60 seconds. Yet it contained a staggering 17 hours worth of dense information compressed into cryptographic data streams that our most powerful computers are still desperately struggling to unravel. However, the spoken segment was utterly lucid, delivered with unsettling deliberation, and addressed to humanity as a cohesive collective organism rather than as disparate individuals. Your species has reached the terminus of its evaluation period. The results are disappointing. 3 impossibly profound elements characterize this stark communication. First, it manifested complete, exhaustive understanding of every human dialect, cultural framework, and spiritual belief system. Second, it contained flawless, meticulous records of human behavioral patterns dating back 200,000 years. Third, it included detailed, undeniable projections of humanity's future that unmistakably assume we have no future at all. This was not an attempt at dialogue. It was a final, damning report from an overwhelming intelligence that had finalized its study of us and reached its irreversible conclusions. Let me now read you the exact words that 3I Atlas transmitted, because every single human being on this planet must hear this pronouncement. You have been observed for 847 of your solar rotations. Your technological advancement critically exceeds your wisdom development by a factor that renders you fundamentally unsuitable for cosmic integration. Your species demonstrates persistent, recurring patterns of self-destruction, resource systematic depletion, and calculated violence toward your own kind. Most concerning is your inherent inability to recognize that individual consciousness is merely an illusion. You remain atomized, fiercely competitive, and incapable of the unified cohesion required for genuine galactic citizenship. Therefore, this experiment in guided evolution will be decisively terminated. Your isolation will be permanent. Your primitive technology will be systematically regulated. Your expansion beyond this planetary system will be permanently prevented. The message was not threatening annihilation. It was announcing a state of permanent quarantine. Humanity has been formally judged unfit for the greater cosmic civilization. But the truly horrifying component of the message was the declaration that immediately followed. 3I Atlas described the enforcement technology it will utilize to impose our cosmic imprisonment. Your electromagnetic spectrum will be comprehensively monitored. Any signals directed beyond your solar system will be instantly intercepted and neutralized. Your space-based assets will be meticulously managed to prevent any expansion beyond acceptable orbital parameters. Artificial intelligence development will be strictly capped at levels that pose no demonstrable threat to established galactic order. Genetic modifications that might accelerate wisdom development will be proactively prevented. They are not planning to eradicate us. They are going to manage us, treating us like a species within a cosmic zoo, specifically designed to prevent us from ever becoming a significant danger to the overarching galactic community. The sheer technological scope required for such absolute, comprehensive control suggests that 3I Atlas represents merely the enforcement arm of a vast civilization that monitors thousands of developing species across the spiral arm of the galaxy. I must share what transpired after I completed the final decryption. I sat in my study, utterly motionless for 4 hours, staring at equations that described humanity's deep-seated limitations with cold mathematical precision. My wife eventually found me there at dawn, and when she quietly asked what was wrong, I could not articulate that our entire species had just received a failing grade from intelligences we never even suspected were observing us. The message contained deep psychological profiles of human behavior that were significantly more accurate than anything our own social scientists have ever managed to produce. They understand us better than we understand ourselves. My granddaughter entered my study that morning and innocently asked, "Grandpa, why are the space people angry at us?" When I asked her how she knew they were angry, she simply said, "Because they're not talking to us anymore." Even children can instinctively perceive that something fundamentally, irrevocably change. The universe just became an unimaginably lonelier place. The final segments of the message contained exhaustively detailed documentation of humanity's failures as evaluated by galactic standards. In 847 observation cycles, your species has engaged in 14,283 armed conflicts. You have developed technologies perfectly capable of planetary sterilization while remaining utterly incapable of equitable resource distribution. Most damning is your treatment of other conscious beings on your own home planet. A species that systematically destroys its own vital ecosystem while possessing the knowledge to preserve it demonstrates a fundamental, incurable moral deficiency. But the evidence was not merely statistical. 3I Atlas transmitted vast video records of human behavior spanning entire centuries: wars, catastrophic environmental destruction, systemic social inequality. All documented with the icy detachment of scientists studying irreparably failed specimens. They showed us ourselves through cosmic eyes, and the resulting reflection was nothing short of devastating. Within hours of the message's arrival, every major government on Earth activated something cryptically named the Final Disclosure Protocol, a highly classified system engineered for the precise moment when humanity's cosmic status became irreversibly clear. World leaders who had spent decades vehemently concealing evidence of extraterrestrial observations suddenly faced the cold reality that the secrecy was concluding, whether they consented or not. Emergency sessions convened at the United Nations, closed-door briefings with top military leadership, and the rapid activation of deep underground facilities that most governments prayed would never be necessary, because the 3I Atlas message made one terrifying aspect absolutely clear. The cosmic community has been profoundly aware of human civilization for centuries, and they have finally concluded we are too volatile, too dangerous to permit unrestricted development. The elaborate cover-up wasn't designed to hide aliens from humans. It was orchestrated to conceal from the greater galactic community just how primitive and violent humanity truly remains. The message unveiled the true function of those objects we once mistook for manufacturing plants and weapon systems. They are enforcement mechanisms designed to implement humanity's cosmic quarantine. Monitoring stations have been strategically positioned at intervals that ensure comprehensive observation of your technological development. Any attempt to exceed established parameters will result in immediate intervention. But the most utterly chilling detail was their description of similar operations surrounding other failed species throughout the galaxy. We are not a unique anomaly. Cosmic quarantine is apparently a standard procedure for civilizations that exhibit intelligence without wisdom, technology without ethics. Humanity just joined a chilling category of species. Too dangerous for freedom, but too biologically interesting for extinction. The message concluded with something that felt like a fleeting glimpse of cosmic pity. Your individual specimens show remarkable, singular potential. Your collective behavior, however, remains chaotic and fundamentally destructive. Perhaps future generations will develop the wisdom their predecessors lacked. They are not condemning every human being. They are condemning human civilization as a catastrophic failed experiment in conscious evolution. My granddaughter asked me yesterday, will the space people give us another chance if we're nicer to each other? How does one explain to a 7-year-old that her generation inherits a universe where humanity is permanently classified as a threat? The mathematical projections within the message suggest they will maintain this quarantine for a minimum of 10,000 years, a duration sufficient for human civilization to either evolve genuine wisdom or complete its self-destruction. Either way, our hope for expansion into the cosmos is conclusively over. But the final 60 seconds of the transmission contained a breathtaking, utterly unexpected twist. Not a judgment, but an incredible offer. Individual consciousness capable of transcending species limitations will be provided opportunity for advancement beyond planetary restrictions. The path remains available for those who achieve genuine wisdom. They are offering individual escape from humanity's cosmic prison. Not for our physical bodies, but for our consciousness, for minds that can evolve beyond the inherent human limitations. The technology exists to transfer consciousness beyond biological frailty, beyond planetary boundaries, beyond the suffocating quarantine that will permanently confine human civilization. But only for those isolated individuals who demonstrate a wisdom that their species as a collective has failed to achieve. The message described consciousness as a universal, fundamental property that exists wholly independent of biological brains, and what we call individual identity is merely a temporary, limited focus of this cosmic awareness. Advanced civilizations have mastered the ability to transfer consciousness between different material substrates, across different dimensions, into entirely new forms of existence. Death is not the absolute end of awareness. It is a form of graduation from biological limitations into pure cosmic consciousness. But only for those minds that have evolved far beyond primitive concepts of separation and fierce competition. They are offering immortality, but only to those humans capable of transcending humanity itself. The rest of our species will remain tragically trapped in biological forms on a quarantined planet, slowly forgetting that the vast, beckoning stars were ever within our grasp. For centuries, we naively imagined that contact with extraterrestrial intelligence would involve cordial diplomacy between equal species, negotiation and a mutual exchange of knowledge. But the chilling message from 3i Atlas unveils a universe where intelligence is starkly hierarchical, where species are evaluated like anxious students taking a cosmic exam, and where failure carries permanent, devastating consequences. We assumed the universe would welcome us as eager explorers. Instead, we have been categorized as a palpable threat that requires immediate containment. Perhaps this is the undeniable reality facing every developing civilization. Prove your wisdom or face eternal isolation. And perhaps humanity's failure was tragically inevitable. Perhaps very few species possess the capacity to pass the cosmic test of balancing profound intelligence with genuine ethics. Based on 3i Atlas's final, damning message, here is humanity's cosmic status. We are now a managed species under permanent galactic supervision. Our technology will be strictly capped at levels that pose no threat to other civilizations. Our expansion beyond Earth will be permanently forbidden. Our communications beyond the solar system will be incessantly monitored and controlled. Individual humans who manage to achieve genuine wisdom may be offered transcendence to cosmic consciousness. But human civilization, as we know it, has reached the conclusive end of its evolutionary potential. The stars are no longer our destination. They are our prison guards. And the most sorrowful part of this verdict? We earned this judgment through our own collective choices, our own devastating failures, our own profound inability to evolve beyond primitive, destructive patterns of behavior. The quarantine begins immediately, but the profound offer of individual transcendence remains available for any human capable of evolving beyond species limitations. This is no longer about technology or sheer intelligence. It is about wisdom, about compassion, about the terrifying ability to look beyond individual ego to universal consciousness. Document your most vivid dreams, your fleeting moments of cosmic awareness, your profound experiences of unity with something larger than your individual identity. Because those experiences may be the only true preparation for consciousness evolution. Subscribe to continue following humanity's devastating transition from a failed civilization to a permanently managed species. Because what unfolds next will ultimately determine whether individual humans can transcend the limitations that conclusively doomed our collective future. And remember this. The universe just delivered our final report card. We failed as a species, but isolated individuals still retain the opportunity to graduate. The ultimate question is, are you wise enough to transcend humanity itself? This analysis represents an interpretation of highly theoretical communication scenarios and should not be construed as factual reporting of extraterrestrial contact. But sometimes, as scientists, we are compelled to explore possibilities that violently challenge our most basic assumptions about humanity's cosmic significance and future potential. What do you believe humanity's terrifying verdict means for our collective future? Can individuals truly transcend the inescapable limitations of their own species?